I bid you welcome.
I welcome you to my house.
Welcome to my house.
Welcome to my home.
Hello Horror Hounds, welcome to my horror house. This week we're going to be looking at Stephen King's Cat's Eye from 1985. I've recently looked at all the Amicus anthology movies in order and wanted to take a break from anthologies, but got this as part of a Stephen King box set because I was after Silver Bullet and slipped it on and noticed that one of the producers of Cat's Eye is none other than Amicus's own Milton Subotsky. So the synchronicity was too perfect. And here we are with yet another Milton Subotsky produced horror anthology, this time at the pen of Stephen King. He wrote the screenplay. The first two stories in the anthology are based on short stories of his from the collection Night Shift, and the third and final story is created originally for this very film. It's directed by Lewis Teague, who has got Stephen King form because he also directed Cujo, happens to have directed my absolute favourite killer croc movie, Alligator, Crocodile Alligator, Potato Potato, the fantastic Alligator with Robert Forster. And do you know what, I think this is a sort of maybe a young adult kid friendly Stephen King movie, maybe a way into the world of Stephen King in the movies for younger people. It's a PG-13 movie, I believe, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. It was released slap bang in the middle of the 80s, and it does feel like one of those mid-80s family movies that are a little bit, maybe got a little bit more edge to them, a little bit go into darker places than family-friendly four-quadrant movies tend to nowadays. The connecting device of these stories is a grey tabby cat, and we follow him on his journey around America, and he weaves in and out of the first two stories and is the focus of the final story. The cat finds itself becoming an unwitting bit player in the first story called Quitters Inc., which sees James Woods employ the services of Quitters Inc. to try and help him quit smoking. But what he very soon finds out is that the philosophy of Quitters Inc. is that they will help you stop smoking with extreme prejudice. Behind the facade of the flashy chrome and glass office building that they've got and the pot-planted reception area, you very quickly learn that this is a mob-run operation. The mob who have had a change of heart but who want to try and help people quit smoking, but use all the skills of their former trade in order to manage that. James Woods is brilliantly cast as the twitchy, nervy, sort of paranoid, vaguely self-centered character at the heart of this story. It's a role that he can really inhabit. I think he finds his apotheosis in David Cronenberg's Videodrome. But if you want someone who's a bit quippy, a bit off the cuff with his one-liners, but twitchy and nervous and paranoid, maybe a little bit sweaty, James Woods is the go-to man. And you have Woods trying to quit smoking and under constant surveillance, essentially by the mob, and it's laid out to him how he will be punished for his first, second and third transgressions if he puffs on the deadly weed. It's a fun little story. It's maybe a little bit padded. Your mileage may vary on this. There's a bizarre party sequence that sort of morphs into a weird sort of like fever dream nightmare scenario that would fit quite comfortably into something like Tales from the Dark Side, where suddenly everyone at the party is smoking. Smoke is coming out of people's nostrils, ears. The mob guy who his services he hired descends the stairs in some weird sort of like silver jogging jumpsuit outfit, lip syncing to a bad cover version of the Police's Every Breath You Take. It's fun. It's got a decent punchline payoff, sort of a quite nice snappy visual punchline, which seems to work well in short anthology segments like this. And then the cat's out of there and on the move cross country again on, I believe, the Staten Island ferry, and finds itself now as a bit player in the second story called The Ledge. The Ledge stars Robert Hayes, who is best known as Ted Stryker from the 2 Airplane movies. I'm smiling thinking, Stryker, Stryker, Stryker. Can you give the court your impression of Mr. Stryker? I'm a psychiatrist, I don't do impressions. We're not talking about Airplane, otherwise we'll be here all day. So Robert Hayes plays an ex-tennis pro and a gambler who now sort of teaches tennis to the rich and the restless, and has fallen in love with the wife of a crime boss and casino owner, and they are planning to run away together. You don't cross the mob. This crime lord is a guy called Cressner. He's also an inveterate gambler, and he knows what they're planning. So he has Hayes' character kidnapped and brought up to his penthouse apartment, where he strikes a deal with him, a dare, a gamble, a bet, if you will. He can walk away with a big bag of money and this guy's wife if he steps out onto the ledge, which runs all the way around the outside of the building, and does a circuit of the building on that ledge. This is a really tense and condensed little story, a really simple premise that I imagine, I'm sure I've read the short story, I want to reread it again because it's exactly the kind of setup that I think at King's fingertips will read wonderfully. Reimagined here on screen, it's really effective. For someone like me who is afraid of heights, I gotta tell you, man, it pushed my buttons. There were moments where I was doing that. I got sweaty palms watching that segment. If you're afraid of heights and like the vicarious thrill of facing that fear in a safe place on your sofa while it's on the screen, I can personally guarantee it'll give you the frisson. After that story's over, the cat's out of there again, hops on a cross-country train and finds its way to North Carolina and the suburban house of a little girl played by Drew Barrymore called Amanda. Since the start of this movie, little Amanda has been psychically calling this cat across the country to come and help her, come and save my life. It feels very dark towery, this sort of psychic connection, quest, magic kind of thing. I think this little story, the final story, The General, could really easily be folded into Stephen King's vast interconnected Dark Tower universe without missing a beat. The girl Amanda is having trouble sleeping, and she tells her parents that there is a creature that visits her room every night. Her parents sort of dismiss it. Mom is not too happy with the idea of them keeping the cat. She's even less happy with the idea of the cat staying in Amanda's room overnight, especially since her mother tells tales. We hear reported, the mum is never seen on screen, but we hear reported in a sort of vaguely European accent that she believes that cats steal children's breath while they sleep. It's a sort of flavour there of Germanic folk tales, and perhaps the hint that that mum's generation has perhaps come over from the old country or somewhere like that, and perhaps have brought their traditions with them. It's never really fully explored. I kind of like it as a bit of a seasoning on the story, a bit of an appetizer. I might have liked just a little bit more of that hint of old country folklore to crunch into, but that's fine. That's just a minor quibble, because what actually turns out to be happening is that there is a troll in Amanda's room living behind the skirting boards that comes out each night, and it is the troll that wants to steal the little girl's breath. The design of the troll is absolutely fantastic. Small little 2-3 inch high creature with a little blade, a sort of Rumpelstiltskin looking thing with a worn old jester's hat with jangly bells on it. Absolutely fantastic, something straight out of a grim fairy tale. The budgie's killed by the troll. The mum thinks it's the cat who's been named General, so that's why this segment's called General. And the mum takes the cat to an animal shelter, and the final act showdown is, can General escape and make his way back to this girl's room to save her from the troll who is trying to steal her breath and presumably her life. So it's cat versus troll in the end. This is what the 80s excelled at, these sort of wild, sort of fantastical battles and confrontations, really at sort of the cutting edge of technology as it was then, but pre computer generated stuff. Now this would all be designed by a computer. Here there were optical effects and special effects, and just having a guy in the troll suit in huge oversized sets, and sort of creative ways around getting a cat to fight a little troll that just, my eyes lap that stuff up. But then again, I'm a child of the 80s, so I might just be an old man waxing nostalgic, but I really dug it. There's little Stephen King Easter eggs in there for you if you want. Amanda's mum is reading Pet Sematary, which is a really nice book to choose because that book very prominently features a cat. James Woods in the Quitters Inc. segment is watching The Dead Zone on television. Within the world of the movie, the cat General comes across his paths with Cujo and Christine. I mean, they're cute, they're nice. There's no real depth in there. This is not the beginning of the interconnected Stephen King universe that he went on to create. This is just cutesy little nods to people in the know, and that's fine. Another weird detail to put in the middle segment, The Ledge. It features the copy of Penthouse magazine that story, The Ledge, first was published in. Okay, if you want to go that meta, bit weird, but there you go, it's in there if you want it. It's got a really nice simple synthy score composed by Alan Silvestri, and it's quite a bit of an earworm. There's a sort of triumphant little trill on the organs, a tune, a sort of theme whenever the cat does something heroic or adventurous that sounds really familiar. And the reason it sounds really familiar is because Silvestri, a few months later, we heard his full orchestral score for Back to the Future, and the cat's motif from Cat's Eye is basically the seedbed for one of the big motifs in the score for Back to the Future. So Cat's Eye is a lot of fun. There's a good little James Woods section in there. There's a nice little fight between a cat and a troll at the end, and if, like me, you're afraid of heights, the middle section will give you, as the French call them, le heebie-jeebies. I had a lot more fun with it than I was expecting to. I just whacked it on to watch and didn't expect to want to talk about it and do a video about it. But here we are. Life's like that. And with this great circularity that it was produced by Milton Subotsky, I think what I'll do now to keep the links going is maybe next time talk about the reason I bought the box set, which was to get round, finally, to rewatching after many years, Silver Bullet. So Werewolf time next at Grumpy Andrew's Horror House. Really hope you can join me.